All right, welcome back to the channel. Want to wish everybody a happy new year. Hopefully everyone was safe, had a great time. We're looking forward to a big 2023 here on the channel. Want to thank everyone that has subscribed, and once again, if you like the videos, please go ahead and like them, share them, and let's get some more people subscribed to the channel. Also, a big shout out for everyone on our Motive Nation Facebook page. We did do the ball giveaway, the end of year giveaway, since we met our goals. But so for today's video, just going to do a little recap of the weekend. Also while I'm trying to clean my balls, didn't have time after the tournament yesterday, so going to go ahead and get these balls cleaned while I'm talking with you all. But so me and a couple guys went down to Augusta. It was a 10 gamer on it was a basic house shot, you know. It's once you got outside 5, there was a little bit of hang, so there wasn't like free friction everywhere, but it was a good day. Had some, you know, ups and downs here and there, but in practice, started off with the, you know, obviously I always try on a house shot starting off with something big, so I started throwing the ghost, and it looked okay. I threw the shock, I believe, in practice. It looked all right. Really didn't have enough teeth for the amount of oil on the fresh. But then I started throwing the Pride, and I made a comment last week. I really didn't give this ball a whole lot of chance. I don't know why, but I threw it in league last week, and yeah, I'm loving this ball. I threw it yesterday in practice at the tournament, and it looked good. But of course, I always like trying to start off with something, you know, a little bit bigger, like a Ghost, Odyssey, something like that. So I did start off game 1 with the Ghost. I believe the first shot hit the pocket, left a 7-pin, and then the second shot with the Ghost, I left a 10-7. So right there I knew it just wasn't the ball for the condition. It was kind of hitting a little fluffy. So in the third frame, I kind of moved in a little bit and kind of floated it some, but I used the Pride, and it went through the pins great. So for the first, I believe, 2.5 games, I used the Pride. Obviously, in the first game, I was kind of still searching, so I think I shot 2, somewhere in the teens. And then the second game, I believe I was near, I think it was 230, 234. But funny thing, come the third game, my ball didn't come back, so I just figured it was stuck in the back. So we called for the return. They said they couldn't see a ball back there. So my buddy went ahead and threw his next shot, and his ball came back. So we're trying to figure out where the ball was, but the bad thing was I had such a good look with this ball, but now I'm like back to guessing, you know, mid-tournament, because they were like, well, you know, it's probably in the track somewhere. It probably jumped the track, which is what it did. It was coming down the track, may have hit another ball, or it may have just jumped the track, but it was actually laying in the track. But I'm glad it was there, because it really isn't that, I didn't see any dings. It's pretty dirty, but there's no dings to it. But so obviously, you know, I'm sitting there trying to figure out what ball to throw. And in my opinion, if you are ever in that situation, the 2 best balls to go to are the Motive, or the Ghost, and the Shock. They give you, they're the most versatile balls, and they won't get you in a lot of trouble, and they'll kind of get you in the spot, you know, you're looking to get into. It may not be the ball, but they will let you know which ball most likely you need to throw. So I went to the Shock, and I think I threw the next 7 in a row. So I stuck with the Shock for a little while. Well, I'm going to start cleaning the ball here. I stuck with the Shock for a little while. I ended up, after the shock started getting a little lazy, and actually I think what it was, we moved to a pair where it got really tight. The one lane was really tight. I was like 6 boards different from lane to lane. It started getting a little tight, so I tried the coral, but the coral was actually a little bit, it wasn't enough to get around the corner. So on that pair, what I ended up doing is I ended up using the Raptor, and I think on one lane I was standing around 30 and throwing over 20, and then the other lane I was on like 22 thrown over 12. So that's how different those two, that pair was. So had a little struggle there. I think on that game I shot like another low 2-teen, kind of salvaged a 2-teen. I was having a tough time yesterday for some reason, picking up damn single pin spares like 10 pins and stuff. Left side wasn't so bad because obviously on a house shot you can hook at them, but yeah, that 10 pin was killing me yesterday. But I did figure out what I was doing. So for me, on my 10 pins, I have to make sure when I'm standing there, I have to make sure I get my hand here more in front of me so that I have a straight line when I'm letting the ball down, instead of normally, for me, I know, this ain't the greatest thing, but I stand at address like this and I kind of move my hand to that position. So it makes your arm swing not repeatable. So I have to make sure that I have this forearm straight at the 10 pin and push out at the 10 pin and then just let it fall and pendulum and make sure that I'm real steady at the line and I have no problem. But of course, I didn't figure this out until about the 7th game, as that was the reason why, because it's harder for me to see this, but when I watch other people bowl, I can see those kinds of things. So, these are the things we learn, and obviously, just like everyone else, I figured this out about game 7, so for the rest of the day, I don't think I missed a 10 pin or any makeable spare. But by the next time I bowl, obviously I'll forget this, because this is just, to get these things repeated, I'd have to go to the bowling alley today and, go ahead and throw, 10, 15 games just shooting at single pins to get that ingrained to where I don't have to remind myself to do it all the time. Yeah, so, I mean, I ended up, I don't know, I can't remember what I ended up bowling, but for the 10 games, but I went ahead and on that pair that was kind of a lot different, I was actually using the Sky Raptor. It was on the one lane, it was actually coming around the corner, and then on the other lane, it was kind of on the back end, so that's why I had to tighten up my angles on that other lane to make sure it had enough energy to come around the corner. After that, I eventually went back to actually the coral. The next pair, it didn't look really good, the Raptor, from the same spot, because when I move pair to pair, I just go ahead and stick with what I left with on, just to get an idea and try to survive the first 2-3 frames without making a huge mistake. But it really didn't look good on the next pair. So then I went to the coral, and I was kind of watching the other guys, how they were finishing up on the next pair. And I went to the coral and moved a little bit right from where I was at. So I was kind of standing around 27 and I was throwing it to 15 because on that pair it seemed like there was some free friction out there. The problem is you had to get it to the friction. If you missed in, the ball just slid. And it really didn't come around, and if it did get to the head pin, it wasn't in the roll phase, it was still in the hook phase, so it deflected, so you left 10 pins or 8 tens, or so you had to make sure you got it to the friction so that it could get into that forward roll so that it would go through the pins. But yeah, that game, I think I had the front 6, front 7, so that was a good game. I think I finished with 230, 240 maybe. And I just continued that for games 8, 9, and 10, and the coral actually looked good from that line. Basically just throwing it out to the friction, because after 5, 6 games, people were just, in the beginning, throwing up, 10-7, so they burned it up and created you some nice free friction out there. But that's a lesson. If you're bowling these tournaments that are longer tournaments, eventually there'll be some free. If it's not in the beginning, if there's not much friction out there, there will be eventually. So you can move in, get yourself a nice cleaner ball, and just throw it to the friction, and you won't have to worry about out of bounds. You won't have to worry about, oh, I can't throw it too far right. Now, if you get too far right, obviously it's going to hang a little bit. But I'm talking about, 8, 7, 6 board. If you want to throw it off of there, it'll just come around the corner, face up, and it'll look great. Yeah, so for the rest of them, I stuck with the coral. Overall, it was a good weekend. Like I said, had some troubles with the 10 pins, but had a bunch of big stuff out there. I think the guy that won, he averaged like 249, I guess, for 10. And I think to cash, you had to be in around 220, average 220, somewhere around there to cash. So it was a fun weekend. Everybody made money. So I did get to meet some people that from Motive Nation. I just recognized the names, so I went up and started talking to them, and just to watch them bowl a little bit, maybe give them some advice. But it was a good weekend. Let's see, what else? Oh, I did run into some people. They drove up from Florida, and they mentioned that Motive isn't really big in Florida, and I hear this a lot of places. But so for 2023, we do get a lot of people onto the page and onto the videos that already throw Motive, so they're asking questions about Motive stuff, this and that. But let's go ahead in 2023. Let's go ahead and get some of those non-Motive bowlers, just to go ahead and tell them, hey, take a look at this. Maybe have them go in and take a look at a few of the videos on my channel, or get them into the Facebook group, and let's go ahead and see if we can get a Motive ball in their hand, and make them believers too. Just like all of us are on these on this great company and on all these good balls. And let's spread the Motive Nation around a little more. But anyhow, I'm going to get to cleaning these balls. I think I have to sub tonight. So for anybody that sees this video, once again, I mentioned I will do giveaways just on my channel. I'm not, I won't always mention them on the Facebook page. But for anybody that watches this video, go ahead and in the comments, go ahead and put what you think my 3-game set will be. And if anybody gets the 3-game set, we'll go ahead and get you a Motive shirt shipped out to you. So make sure you put that in the comments. But anyway, let's make this a good 2023. I'm sure that Motive has some, stuff coming out for us, some apparel, and obviously probably some new equipment. So we're definitely looking forward to that. But please continue to support us, support the channel as we try to continue to grow, this great game that we all love, and definitely hope to grow the Motive brand. But until next time, we'll catch y'all out on the lanes, and everybody be safe.